Today, we welcome back Stephan Plummer. For those of you who do not know Stephan, she was here at the beginning of December with a message about faith to start off our Advent season. Welcome back to you. It's lovely to have you with us.
Thank you.
Stephan was born and raised in a large family out in the country in Virginia. Raised Pentecostal, the entire family was musical, so music always filled the house. Stephan has been playing the guitar and singing since the age of 10. Wow. She has traveled throughout the country, performing music and speaking at many venues and churches. Stephan loves God and desires to bring spirituality into the physical realm to be experienced in a deeply profound way. She loves music and wishes to share her wisdom, gifts, and talents with the world. Stephan has 5 CDs of original music and is currently writing a book about her life titled A Thing of Beauty. How appropriate. Here's Stephan's message for today, trust.
I think I start off with a song, right? Yes, okay. The beginning of trust, because it also says this song was written by somebody else, which I'm sure that there are people who have written the song. Oh, it does say me, okay. It should say God and me, because I really just held I just held the pencil and it wrote. I'll talk about that in a minute, but. And then when the chorus comes, please join in. God is everything. God is all in all. God is so divine. Everlasting light. The sun that shines, the stars at night, and so much more, so much more, so much more. Every breath, every breath, every move, every move, every tree, every bird, every sound and every word. The moon in the sky and the mountains up high, and you and I, you and I, you and I. I give God thanks for my days. I'm glad for this time. I give God praise. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah. I give God praise. I give God praise. is everything. God is all in all. God is so divine. Everlasting light. The sun that shines, the stars at night, and so much more, so much more, so much more. I'm heading over here. Good morning. I have a twin. No. Thank you, Stephan. I'm Stephan. No. I don't know. Can you hear this, or does it matter? Okay, that's the only thing that counts. Actually, you know what really counts to me is, can I hear you? And can you hear yourself? And can you hear God? Let's just take a moment and breathe that in. And you know, the title of my talk today is Trusting God, but it's faith over fear, navigating life with unwavering trust in God. And at first it was going to be just trusting, but then it started morphing into really trusting God. Like, what does that mean? I do encourage audience participation. I know, and I love that about you. I really do. It's so wonderful. You know, there's certain words, I think, that are codependent on each other. Like, you always find them hanging out together. And I want to throw some of those out. And it's interesting because I think trust and faith are two of those words for me that hang out together, trust and faith. And right and left, salt and pepper, black and white, day and night, up and down. Can you think of some words? Just bring them out, shout them out. Huh?
You and me.
You and me. All right. Yin and yang. Hello.
Peace and joy.
Peace and joy and
Creativity and destruction.
okay. Absolutely. Yes. Huh? What was that one?
Gin and tonic.
Oh. Okay. Perfect. What goes with Tanqueray, actually? I was thinking back in the South, they drink, what are they called? No, they're it's some fancy name. Huh? That sounds familiar. I think my father used to make those for us when we were sick. Here, have some of this, and which would put us out. Whatever he gave us, I think it was a hot toddy. But anyway, I was actually practicing my talk a little bit yesterday, and Karen waved to everybody. Karen's over there. And she said, what did you say? You said yellow and black? Yellow and black. And then right after that, she was like, that doesn't go together. And then it was interesting because a few minutes later, she was like, a bee is, so they actually do. So even when you think things don't go together, you find that there's a thread, or there's a, something that does connect everything, right? It's very interesting. So what about trust? The word is printed on our money. In God we trust. Do I tithe? That's another word, is gross or net. Those were the two words that came up. Now, Edwin Gaines would say gross, tithe on your gross income, not your net. Are you all? Yeah, are you all familiar with Edwene Gaines? She's the prosperity consciousness of the universe is what she deemed herself. And she did that, by the way, when she was tithing when she had holes in her shoes and she was working like 3 jobs and was raising her children on her own. And she began to trust God from that place. And now she can jump on a plane and travel to Europe as quickly as you could go to 7-Eleven. So yeah, she's got quite the story. So I encourage you to look her up. So do I tithe? Do I give to the place of where I'm fed spiritually? And so I'm going to throw out a definition that I looked up about trust, a definition, a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something, assured reliance, to believe in, have faith in, depend on. The Bible says in Proverbs 3, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. So to me, that sounds like having faith. So I would definitely say that those 2 words do go together, trust and faith. So now I decided, well, then I'm going to look up some Bible verses about faith. Matthew 21, and whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. 2 Corinthians, for we walk by faith, not by sight. James 1:3, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:6, but when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave on the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. Timothy 6, fight the good faith, fight the faith. Hebrews 11, the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. Mark 9, Jesus said, all things are possible for one who believes. Matthew 17, if you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here and there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. So let's take a deep breath and let's unpack that all a little bit here. So what is being said? I'm hearing that faith is and prayer in faith is a very important element pertaining to trust. And I hear that we might have to believe even if we don't see the results right away, and that we might have to move some mountains along the way, mountains of doubt. Fight the good faith fight, or would I say keep on pressing on. And it says something about hanging on to hope and giving up doubt. But we believe that all things are possible if we believe. So what do I believe is possible in my own life? Do I use the word impossible? Because I just want to point out that the word impossible spells I'm possible. So if the word impossible spells I'm possible, then what is impossible? So I want to throw out some things, right now and see if they stick to the wall. Okay, let's do that. And what if I make a bold statement that whatever you want in your life is a real possibility? What if I throw that out there? Now, hold on, though. I'm not saying that if you want to be an NBA star and you're 5 foot something and 50 years old, that's not what I'm talking about. I want to be realistic when I'm considering what I want to achieve in this lifetime, okay? Although there are plenty of NBA stars that aren't the average height of 6'7" who are talented and gifted, and they play quite well. So it's not always a matter of that. But let's be within reason here. So I want to throw out. I want you to throw out some things that you are interested in accomplishing in this lifetime. Things that you might have had doubt about, things that you might have doubt about right now, things that you've, and I just want you to, I invite you to just think about when you were 5 or 10, or, whenever you can remember that you were like, I want to go do this. And, it doesn't have to be, I want to be an engineer, but I mean, what did you want to do What did you want to experience at that age where you felt like you could get up in the morning and you could just go do that forever for the rest of your life, and it didn't really matter if you got paid or not, but it was about having fun and joy? So what are those things? Let's just get in touch with those things right now.
Read all the great classics.
Read all the great classics. Okay, name a few.
To be like my grandma.
You wanted to be like your grandmother?
Yeah, nurse and like entrepreneur and, you know, made a huge difference in the community.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be half as good.
You wanted what?
I was shooting for half as good because she was so great. And it would have been like, you know, that's the
Yeah.
part where you gotta let that go. But yeah, that was a goal.
Nice. And your grandmother's name?
Betty Lako.
Betty Lako.
1007.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Dr. Lako is my grandpa.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
used to be in the library reading all his medical books and finding all the hippiest pictures. I was all about it. I was, ooh.
So wonderful. All right. What else? Come on.
I have a grandpa one too. I'm my grandpa Matt.
Yeah.
And I would spend summers at my house with my grandma and grandpa, but my connection was with them.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I go into a shop and teach me Morse code during the day, and then
Wow.
walk over to the one-night Chinaman's restaurant store next door and get ice milk at night. And and then I lay in the living room and pick the books off the shelves that I couldn't read yet, but they smelled really good.
Oh, what they smell like?
Old and special.
And did you learn Morse code?
I did.
I thought that was fascinating. Like, how do you make words out of tick, 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 just how about turn to your neighbor and just say, this is what I've always wanted to do, but, and I'm working on it, or I'm doing it, or I don't think I can do it, or I might do it one day, someday conversation, or this is what I'm working toward. This is what I'm having conversations about. So just go ahead and take a moment and turn to somebody and So we have a lit up room. Have you noticed? Have you noticed the energy in the room right now? Have you noticed the connection that you feel with your neighbor right now? Like a little bit of peek into their world, and they got a little peek into your world. And it's forever ever shifted now, hasn't it? Like, it's something has changed, hasn't it? Just in those brief moments. And life is really, it recycles itself, and as it should, right? Because so everything renews and recycles, and so what do we do to keep our possibilities alive? Like, we have to be our own greatest advocate. about keeping our possibilities alive. So it starts with me. Like, I used to never like working with a computer. I was like, I'm no good at this. I don't want to do it. And I just don't want to do it. I'd give it to somebody else. Until the day when I was like, I needed to learn the computer. And so guess what? I did. And I found out through resistance of what I couldn't do and didn't want to do and wasn't going to do, that I actually got pretty good at it. I'm actually pretty good at computers now. You know, who knew, right? But it's about keeping those possibilities alive. You know, possibilities do not live on their own. Like, we really do have to anchor them. We have to attach them to something in the real world. And then we have to invite other people to participate in what we're really up to. So we call somebody on the phone, or we talk to somebody, or we say, this is what I'm going to do today. We keep those possibilities alive. That's how things really do get accomplished. Because if we're just talking about one day I want to do this, but then you know, have you ever done that and you wake up like a year later and you're like, but I said that like a year ago and I was really lit up by it. So what I want to invite you today is whatever you said or whatever occurred to you, whatever nugget there was in that you would take that as a hunk of gold for your soul, and that you would anchor it into something that's based in reality, like right now. Like, I'm going to make a promise to myself that might not know how to do this, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to do this. So I want to start by saying that I'm not kidding you. I was in charge of the children's song service at our Pentecostal church at the age of 5. I'm serious. Like, I could barely talk, and I was up there, you know, deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide, you know, and all of the songs, and, you know, Jesus on the main line now, we'll call him up, you know. You don't have to read music or even be able to read or write, because I didn't know how to read. So I was, call him up, but I know how to call him up, you know. So you know, but people would say things like, "You have soul. You sing. You have soul." And I didn't know what soul was at 5, but I could tell you today, I do know what soul is, and I had it. It was always there, and it was music. And other people recognized that in me right away, right from the get-go. So I have would you young people like to share what you love doing in your life?
I mean, video games.
Video games. Okay. You like to create them?
Yeah, I code them and I make the art for the game.
You hear that? Yeah.
In the past few years, I've said this stuff is pretty good at it. All my brothers like the games I make.
I want to play the game you make now. I'm like, okay, I would get your email address or if you probably have a YouTube. Do you have a YouTube channel?
No.
Okay. And how about you?
I want to be a source tech
You going to be what?
I want to be a source tech
Engineer. Okay. What do you want to make?
It's aerospace engineer.
Aerospace. And how old are you? Let's give. Thank you. Thank you. What is your name? Huh? Kieran. And your name, sir?
Gabriel?
Gabe.
Call me Katie.
Okay, Gabe. Let's give him some. Thank you. That was very, very courageous of you to share that. And thank you. You know what a difference that makes for us in this room that you shared that information? Thank you so much. You know, it's a willingness to share, right? It's a willingness to share. Are we willing to share with each other? You know, I traveled all around doing music my entire life. I was a street musician. I played in some really good bands, some really not so good bands. I had this red guitar, I remember, and I was playing, and we were playing in these dives. It was a band called Vital Signs. And it was like the opposite of Vital Signs, whatever that would be. But yeah, but I could play the electric guitar, and they had a red electric guitar, and everybody, you know, they were pretty much lit up in the audience, and they would say, "We want to hear the chick on the red guitar," you know. So I traveled around a bit playing music, being a street musician. And, you know, one of the things I remember being really super inspired by was I went to see a Joan Baez concert at the Paramount Theater. And there was a guy he was a street musician, Baby Gramps. I don't know if you all ever heard of him. He'd play a metal guitar. I never heard one of those before. And he had this husky voice like that, you know. And so I'm at this fancy, you know, I mean, you've been to the Paramount Theater, right? It's so elegant in some ways. It's just got all that history and everything. And here, you know, here's Joan Baez and this big concert. And so her opening act, I see this guy coming out like this, you know, and it's Baby Gramps opening for Joan Baez. And I knew in that moment, because I was a street musician at that moment, and I knew something clicked in me. You know those moments when something clicks? Something clicked in me and said, anything's possible. Anything's possible. And I wanted to do a CD of something. I have so many genres of music that I just absolutely love. And I remember sitting on my sofa, and I sat there and I said, what is the CD that I would really want to do that would put all the pieces together from my heart that I would really want to do in life? And, you know, I heard the voice of God. You ever hear the voice of God? You know, that silence. It's almost like this pure silence, or at least for me, it's like a pure silence. And I could hear something so loud. This voice, this clear, like a bell ringing. And it said, will you write songs that will bless people? And I said, yes, but I have never written any gospel songs. And I heard, but you will. I mean, it was just that quick. I haven't written any songs, but you will. It was just that quick. And, you know, I wrote 14 songs within 4 months. And I Give God Praise was one of the first. And I remember that song, writing it, and I just literally sitting there, and I was holding the pencil, and it was writing so quickly, and I just start crying and crying. I feel this light coming down through my head, and it was just, I felt like, God, I'm going to just explode into a million pieces here. And I heard, but you will if you don't keep the channel open. Because, you know, there's something about when you say yes to God, right? I'm telling you, when you say yes to God and you really mean it, then be open. I encourage you to be open. Okay. So, but anyway, so I want to talk about that song. Okay. So, well, first of all, I want to say I've written 5 CDs, and I never thought that I could write one CD. I never did, because I hadn't. I didn't think I was capable. I didn't know the songs. I didn't know who was I going to produce that with, what studio was I going to, I didn't have the first thing, 1, 2, 3. I didn't have any of that. So it was a big no, but then there was a big yes that was bigger than the no. If that makes sense. Now I want to talk about that song, because that song, I got to sing that song at Benaroya Hall, Seattle Symphony House, with a choir of light, 120 people backing me up on that song. I remember walking across the stage of Benaroya Hall, and I was like, God, please just let me get to the mic without falling down. And my knees were just like jello, and I made it to the mic, and I thought, okay, I did it. I was like, no, now you got to sing. And I said, God, please let something come out of my mouth. I don't even care what it is, just something come out.
But I got through the whole thing. It was so incredibly beautiful. But the point that I want to make is that, this is what can happen. Just by saying yes, just by trusting is something that, as I said, moving mountains, like you don't know how to move a mountain. How, that's not even possible, right? Yeah, it is possible. It's possible through God, but it's a total trust in God. I had a total trust in God. And I'm not saying that I haven't been stopped because of life circumstances, because I have many times. But what happens when you get stopped? Do you just pitch a tent and say, well, I tried to drive to the store, but look, here I am, stopped. And the only difference between someone who achieves and accomplishes and someone who doesn't is that when someone gets stopped, that achieves, they just get stopped and they say, oh, I'm stopped. Okay. And then they go. We find a way, And the person who gets stopped and stops, that's what they do. And I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong about this either. It's just what we are committed to experiencing. Life is the experience of life. Yes.
It's like a seed. A seed gets stopped and it gets planted in that spot, but then it grows.
Yes.
And that's what happens to me. I get stuck, but then it's a huge growth opportunity.
Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. It's so accurate, imagine a seed, right? The seed is in the ground. Okay, well, what is the seed? The seed is in utter darkness, way down there. And then it has to explode while being down there. And then the fun begins, right? If that wasn't fun enough, it has to push its way all the way to the surface. And then it has its moments of chlorophyll, right? The sun has touched me, literally, and then it goes, right? But look at what all it had to go through to do that. Now, I believe that God is, and I said this in my talk a couple pages, but God is always precocious like I am. Let's be a little ahead of the talk. She so beautifully mentioned, about the seed, is that, we really, God is just about, because I had a friend call me up and she was like, well, yeah, but, I don't know what to do, God isn't really, and I said, God just throws the seeds around. Like that's what God does. Because we're just supposed to have fun with that. Oh, I like this seed. I like that seed. Well, then we grow it, right? And it's like, it calls to us, and that's what, because aren't you inspired by everything all the time? You go outside. I could write a song about the pavement and somebody's going to cry. Somebody's going to get touched. I cannot believe that you wrote the song about the pavement, and here I am crying. Because it's inspiration. It's where are we coming from with this? Where are we coming from? Are we having fun yet? Are we having fun? Has anybody ever heard of Eva Zeisel? Eva Zeisel. She was known for working with her ceramics, and her forms were abstract, and her inspiration was the natural world and human relationships. She created salt and pepper shakers that looked like they were embracing each other, giving each other. A lot of people have kind of recreated her stuff, but Eva Zeisel, she was the original of all of that stuff, and she made it from the place of fun and playful. And she created a dinnerware for Town and Country. Her stuff is in the Smithsonian Design Museum, as well as the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Now, when she was in her 90s, she decided that for her second career, she wanted to become a furniture designer. And when she was interviewed about that, she just held out her arms and said, "It's a free gift." She was in her 90s. Now, when she was 100, she decided, and she was climbing up ladders to go find her old, the molds that were her originals back from the day, the 30s. And she found some of those. Yeah, I'm talking about being your own greatest advocate in this life. That's what she was doing. I mean, she could probably gotten anybody to do anything for her. At 100 years old, she goes and does this herself. And she climbs up the ladders and she finds the old molds and she re-releases those, a lot of those. And they sold out almost immediately. And today they are more valuable than the originals. And she lived to be 105. So life is a journey, not a destination. So what is worth your time? What is a big enough game to play that you get to experience trusting God when you're not sure how to do it? And the big thing here is pick something fun. Because I'll tell you something, if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do it probably. Or if I do it, I'm not going to stick to it. And, you know, somebody, I shared with somebody years ago, I said, you know, they were talking about stage fright. And I said, you know, isn't it interesting if you think about the experience of stage fright, doesn't it also feel like excitement? Doesn't it also feel like living full out, that you're really on the court? You're not up in the stands, you know, just up there criticizing the people who are trying to look at them. They fell right in their face. You know. Look at all that mud, you know. But what do? You just clean it up and go on, right? Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be jumping off any cliffs or bungeeing. That makes me dizzy, like just watching people do that. But so if you make it fun, though, which we brought up that as these children have well demonstrated, you're lit up about what you do, right? I mean, aren't you excited about what you do? Are you excited about being an engineer?
I think he's excited about space in correlation with that.
So you're a cosmologist? You know what cosmologist is? Cosmologist, you're in love with the cosmos. Or you study the cosmos, all those planets and stuff. But you see, like, we don't have to. We will say that we're free when we might be carrying a whole bunch of baggage with us. And we'll still say we're free. Remember the show, the movie was The Jerk, right? And he's like, I don't need anything, I need this, you know, and he's walking out the door, he's got all this stuff. But what if we really were free? This, you know, we're being shown that today by these wonderful children that are showing us what's really does reside within us right today. It resides right now. It never went anywhere. It might have gotten covered up. There might be some baggage. There might be some things in the way. There's a bunch of stories running, but it is not gone. It's there. So I wanted, first of all, let's just throw out some of what those things are that you feel today that you can really go for and be your own greatest advocate, and that you would be willing to take whatever chances and trust God. Is somebody lit up by that as a possibility today? Yes.
One of the things that the Bible says over and over again is fear not. But in order to fear not, you have to trust.
Thank you. Did we hear that? That's so beautiful. Thank you. Yes.
Well, I have believed in God from the time I was just a little girl. I'm here for a reason. I've never been negative. I've always been happy, always positive about everything. And I love life. And I was the only one that was in my family of 5 children that had all the talents. Mom said, guess what? He said, God made you small enough. I only weighed a little over 3 pounds and 12 inches long when I was born. I was a full-term baby, and I was the healthiest one. And so Mom said, that's why that God gave me all the talents.
Yes.
I could draw, I could write, I could sing. I found out in the 9th grade that I had one of the most wonderful voices for a 16-year-old, and I didn't even know I could sing.
Well, you have a very voice.
God's been with me all my life.
Yes. And you're happy about that.
I'm 91.
All right.
I'm still doing everything myself.
Thank you. So you see there, we've got the young folks and the older folks and the older folks and younger folks. Karen's a good representation of all that. She has all of that within her. And she works with the children. She's a bus driver and she takes care of the children, the animals, and it's wonderful inspiration. So, but I want to do a guided meditation. Can we do guided meditation right now? Okay. So put your feet flat on the floor. Feel the chair supporting you. Take a deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath in and out. Just feel how the breath of your body supports your life. Feel the air going into your lungs, nourishing you, supporting you, saying yes to you, filling you full of life and energy and the things that you need right now. Gives you everything you need right now without even having to ask for it. It's just there. And then breathe that out. I want you to imagine that you received a letter in the mail, and it's from God. So you open the letter anxiously or apprehensively, and inside there's a credit card offer. So you're looking further, and it says Bank of the Universe. You are approved. You have an endless credit limit and no annual fee. So here you are holding a cosmic credit card from the Bank of the Universe if you trust in God. So what will you do? Where will you go? What chances would you be willing to take if you knew that you are supported by the universe? What would work for you? What if your real job is to be happy? Would that work for you? So let's fall back on the feather bed of faith and trust, asking yourself, what are my goals and dreams? When we die, if we're buried, we have a tombstone, and on the tombstone has our name, and it has the date that we were born, and then there's a dash, and then it has the date that we died. I want you to realize that you're in the dash. You're in the dash right now. On this moment, these moments that we are manifesting in a physical world, and we have endless possibilities right now of what we're going to do with this time that we do have. What would I do if I knew that I am truly unstoppable and that the universe is conspiring for my good? What if I formed a partnership with God and I went into business with God? And God is the CEO of the company. And by the way, God loves me. Would that work for you? Are you willing to practice prayer and meditation? Are you willing to practice it on a daily basis? Are you willing to trust God to grow your faith? So let's pray, dear Father, Mother, God, the universe. We are leaning into you right now, and we are willing to walk the path of trust. We're going to be like, if you call up Amazon, and we're not going to wait for Amazon we're not going to say to Amazon, just send me whatever you think I might like. No, we're going to, like ordering from a catalog, you're going to be specific. You're going to say the size, the fabric, the color, the page number, the all sorts of specific details that you are in prayer with God right now about what you want. So no airy-fairy prayers. Okay? Be specific, because you will get your prayer answered a lot quicker if you're specific. And if you anchor that into reality, because you're going to be your own greatest advocate now. You just imagine you have a conversation with somebody every day about just one thing. Well, first of all, I want you to picture what that thing is that you're going to do now. That's worth your time, your treasure, your devotion, your commitment, something that calls to your heart, something that would be really fun to do, something you might be really fearful of, something you might have been avoiding your entire life. Just whatever that thing is that's calling to you right now. And to say, I'm going to do this. Today, when I get up out of my chair, the heavens and earth are going to move in me because I'm going to do it. And then every day, whether it's Post-it notes, whether you write about it, think about it, call somebody on the phone. You could call up a friend and say, I was at church today and I decided that I'm going to do whatever it is. Can I call you maybe in a couple of days and share? Will you call me? Will you call me and encourage me? Invite people to stand for you. They will. Be a stand for yourself. Allow other people to be a stand for you. And then go out and create into this world whatever is calling into your life, because that is your bliss. And wherever your bliss is, it changes this world. It changes the world for the good. There's a ripple effect. Encourage one another. Love one another. Love yourself. Love God above all. Lean into God. And let your life never be the same. Get up from the chair today knowing that you have made a decision, made a choice. You're making a choice for you, for what is inspiring you right now. Believe, believe, believe in yourself. You are worth it. The world needs you. Live into the dash powerfully. And never give up. And we ask this, and we know that God is moving those mountains right now. We feel that. We feel the seed under the ground bursting. It's bursting forth with something we don't even know what's going to come up yet, but we're anticipating and waiting for its arrival. So we're watering it every day. We're nurturing it. We're putting it out in the sun. We're protecting it. And that's our dreams. So I just invite you now to come back into the room, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes, and then just, if you feel like sharing with someone, maybe give somebody a fist pump or a high five or a hug, or let's just love ourselves and love up on each other about what Has something shifted for you today? Has something changed? Have you gotten inspired by something that you heard in your own head? So just share, go ahead and share that with each other.
Did you get inspired? Did you get inspired?
You are an agent for change. Thank you for speaking up and sharing.
Thank you. That's actually all I want to do. You just said what I am all about in my heart. So thank you, because that's in alignment with what I really feel that I want to do. So I always check, is the tongue in my mouth and the tongue in my shoes going in the same direction?
Your mouth and your shoes going the same direction.
The tongue.
Are you walking your dog?
Yeah.
Well, you need to take
Pardon me? Why not? You know, I picked somebody up from the airport, and they had to go to the hotel. I was assisting for a forum, and he had never been to Seattle, and I was lost, but I didn't tell him I was lost. I just pretended that I knew where I was going, and then I eventually did find the hotel. But it was interesting, because when I got there, I said, you know, I was lost a couple times, but I got you to your flight. And he said, you know, if you had never told me you were lost, I wouldn't have known. So see, we don't have, you know, okay, so we're lost, but are we really lost? I don't think we can ever really be lost. So,
Isn't it just part of the adventure?
yes, journey, not a destination. But I think if we pick some stuff that's fun, we're more likely to stick with it. Because if I just think I want to do something because I think I have to or must, it's not going to work for me.
What do you do when it feels really scary?
Huh? Embrace it. It's because remember, it's the same feeling as stage fright is the same feeling as excitement. If I never felt stage fright when I got up to sing, I wouldn't stick with music.
I would got diarrhea when I had stage fright.
Well,
That was not much.
you go and do that, and then you go. Yeah.
I know.
All right, so how about a song?
About 10?
About 10 songs? I want to thank everybody again for letting me come here and share. And you know, this gentleman right here, is it Bob?
It's Glenn today.
Glenn. Glenn.
It's Bob.
Don't you love that? It's Glenn today?
Of course we do.
Okay, what he said, what did you say to me?
You are an agent for change.
And you know, it's interesting because like that quote could describe me exactly. And so,
Your name, Bob.
yes, yes,
Name, wow.
yes. So, you know, it's like, okay, you know, right? We can do whatever at any time, and all we have to be is the agents of loving ourselves, embracing ourselves, and that we're going to be that, whatever that is,
And
right?
it's fun. It's
But-
fun when you do that because that's what turns you on. That's the juice.
The juice for me, like the payoff for me today, is whatever you're getting. Because that's what keeps me lit up. Like I am literally the person who's lit up by other people getting their possibilities.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It is so fun to be that person. Because to me, you're all little children. And I'm just looking to see that little child in you that just wants to do that thing that you really love doing. And I'm just like the parent or the grandparent who says, oh, you know, aren't they precious? And see, I think that's what God does.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I think God thinks we're really precious, you know, exotically beautiful, just naturally. And now we just, you know, we just have to uncover some stuff.
When we do good, he gets that right.
Right?
The rest of the deal.
God created us to be creative. And if we are made to create and to be creative, then what are we creating?
God created